Hello there, it's Jan here from JB Crafts, and I am back today with project number 8 for my 12 Days of Christmas series this year. So we've done lots of different things already. If this is the first time you've come across me, there are previous videos in this collection. Not just card making, there are some 3D construction projects, but I've gone sort of fairly straightforward today. I just wanted to showcase the little gnome stamp that I'd got, and I've put him on a wobbler. So it's just got that little bit of movement in it. It'd be a great one for the kiddies, I think. But yeah, just a little bit of something different. The card itself, very, very straightforward. Bit of matting and layering, bit of stamping, and as I say, just using things that we've already got in our stash. If you don't have this particular die, you know, the ethos of the channel, I keep saying this, is to use what you have in your stash. This could be a snowman, it could be a Santa, it could be a reindeer, it could be anything Christmas related, or you could translate this into an everyday just by changing the sentiment, changing the image here for the main icon. So yeah, let's get into the tutorial. Nice and simple. It's a 7x5 design today. I haven't done the inside yet. I'm going to finish that off on video and pop that inside. I know one or two of you have expressed an interest in seeing the thought process behind those, and I will just apologise if the light seems a bit odd today. I've had to put my ring light on, which I hope is not reflecting too much. It is very, very gloomy here. I feel as if I'm chasing the time today because we've got a lot of rain due, and I know a lot of you know that I work in my conservatory, so it gets very noisy on the roof when it starts raining. So yeah, I wanted to get this filmed this morning before we got cracking with the rain. So like I said, standard 7x5 card, 7x5, and it's going to open on what I call a book fold, and these are still ones that I'm using out of my old craft boxes from Crafter's Companion. Wanted to try and get through these, so it's a nice size for mailing. It's probably the closest thing to the US sizing. I know yours is a wee bit smaller than this, and I know some of you do make the 7x5 cards. So yeah, let's get cracking. I've had a look through my stash and pulled some bits and pieces out that I thought matched. So the first thing that I'm going to do is some matting and layering. Very, very simple today. I went through one of my paper pads, and this is one that I've bought this year. It may still be available if you're here in the UK. This was actually from the Works, I believe, and it's just £3.99 for a 12x12 paper pad. They are extremely value for money. Gingerbread, I love this idea. I love the white on the craft card, and it's all themed around that. If I just give you a quick flick through, it's got some craft card in the back there, and you've just got a selection of really, really nice. You know, this one's got the glitter on. Can't wait. I need to think of a project for that one. But yeah, all based around Christmas and the gingerbread. Absolutely gorgeous. This one's got some foiling on, and I just think for the money, they are absolutely beautiful. So I took the one that had the candy canes on. I wanted this mint green, and it's got the little candy canes on there, and I've cut a piece to fit my design today. So then I went and chose a nice green for the matte layer behind it. I was considering silver, but I've done a lot with the glitter card and things recently, so I thought we'll stick with the green, and this is just a piece from my stash, and I've gone 1/4 inch down. So I've got 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 on the matte layer, just to give that nice border all the way around of the white on the card. And then I've gone down 1/4 inch again to 6.5 by 4.5, and I've popped this one to go on top. And then I've just used a little bit of the offcut from the green to pop a horizontal piece across here. This is going to house my sentiment. I just wanted that little hint of something in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this first layer down, and then I'm going to do a bit of extra stamping. So don't be afraid to stamp onto your pattern papers. So let me just, I always forget to do this. The glue gets a little bit of a skin over it when you close it, and I always forget to unblock it before I come on camera. So I just want to get rid of any of that old glue there. And yeah, back to the colour all purpose for this one. And we'll get this one stuck down, and then I'm going to bring my stamp platform in and stamp on the other one before I stick it down onto the card. So that one's just going to go straight on top of my card, just making sure that I've got the fold at this side. and then make sure that that's nice and straight. Just wriggle it into place and get that one on there to be drying. I'm just going to pop my block on it as usual just to get it to dry nice and flat, and then bring my stamp platform in. And one of my stamp sets has got a really nice little postage mark in it, December 24th, heart to heart. I just thought that was a nice little touch to break up some of that background paper. So all I'm going to do is pop this in here, hold it down with my magnet. I'm going to use some black ink, so whatever ink you've got for this, because we're not going to do any colouring or anything like that. And I've got the stamp still in the same place as when I did the original sample there. And all I'm going to do is transfer that up into that top corner. And we are going to obscure some of it, but it's just adding another bit of interest to the background paper. As I say, don't be afraid to stamp onto your pattern papers there. Give that a little clean, and then we're good to go. I can sort the stamp out later. So that I'm going to leave to dry for a second. Because I used a pigment ink, it will just sit on the surface for a second or two. So I'm going to leave that one to dry while we go on to the next part of it. So then I actually brought in a set of dies. Again, I've had these for a while. I think, if I remember rightly, I'm not sure if these weren't a Polka Doodles die. And they're a set of nesting dies, but they've got a really nice background on them. And what I've done is I've used my card again. This has come in really handy. I've used a couple of the sizes. I want this one for the front, and this cuts out a really nice border around the design there. You can see that one. So this is going to be the background for my die cut image for the little gnome there. You can see him in his pieces. I'll go through that in a second. And then the inside one I'm going to use on the insert, so I'll come back to that in a second. Now I did actually make a little bit of a slip up here, because I was getting ready and I've put the tape on the back of here, but I want to stamp on this, so I'll see if this works. It may not be as clear as I wanted it to be, but I wanted some little holly branches just in this top corner. My gnome's going to be in this corner. I wanted something just to offset it. So again, I'm going to use that same black ink, and I've put it on an acrylic block this time because it's just a little tiny stamp. And we're going to flip this round, and in the corner I just want to pop that little holly leaf. I'm hoping that the foam doesn't. All right, we're good with the first one. And then I'm going to turn it slightly and go the other way and keep everything crossed. There we go. It was being kind to me today. They are a little bit close, those, but I can live with that. I was worried about them not stamping out properly with the foam underneath. So that is that bit, and then I'm going to add a bit of colour to that with my pencils. Again, I'm just going to leave it to dry for a second because it's the pigment ink, and bring in the die elements. So this is one that I got off Amazon. It makes the most gorgeous little gnome there. And again, it can be used for any time of year. I've actually done it. It's got the present with it. Doesn't have to be a Christmas present. It can be anything. You don't have to use the present. But what I've done is I've actually started die cutting and made sure that I've got all my pieces ready. So we've got, I'm going to do it in a different colourway this time, and I like to do this sometimes when I'm sort of doing the tutorials. See, give you options. This one, I just went with some green cardstock that was very similar. That's where the mint green came from, and I did the present in some red glitter card. Little red drop on the end of his hat here. I'm going to go the other way round this time, and I'm going to do the hat in the red glitter card. So that die cuts out. You've got a little bit of detail on there, which I'm hoping you can see on the camera. So I've got that one cut. Then there is the section for his beard. Obviously these have all been die cut this way, so the dies are going the other way, but you get all that lovely detail in that one. This piece is his body, so I've just done this in some grey cardstock. You don't actually see much of that, but it's what we're going to anchor the rest of it on. This piece here, I've left these two together because it gives you the two most gorgeous little feet. I'm going to put them on there so that you can see them. But I've cut the shoes out of the red glitter card to match his hat. And then there is a tiny, tiny little sliver at the bottom here that you can just put on the base of the shoe. So I've done that in the grey again. And I've done the present this time in the green. So on the original sample, we had the green on the gnome and the red present. This time I've got the red on the gnome with the green present. And then you also get the bow to put on the front. And then the last bit in here was his little nose. So I've cut this out of cream cardstock, and then I just coloured it with one of my markers, and I've just gone for a fair skin blend there and just done a little bit of shading on the nose with my alcohol marker just to give it a bit of colour. If you've got the right colour cardstock, you could do that with some coloured card. I was struggling to find one that was a skin tone, so I sort of just used some scraps of cream and coloured it in there. So that's going to be my little dwarf. So we will assemble him while those other things are drying off, and it's just a case of popping some little dabs of glue down and getting those in the in position. So his body wants to go with this is his tummy, these are his arms, and then we've got the hat and the beard. So the first thing I'm going to do is just some little tiny bits of glue. Just give that a shake. I'm going to go back to my acrylic glue now. Now I can hear the rain already. It wasn't supposed to arrive, well, 10 AM, and it is very early. It's only just gone 9. So apologies if you can hear it on the roof. It's only very light at the minute. I'm hoping I can get this done before it comes in too heavy. So on his beard, I'm just going to pop right on the corner here a little bit of the acrylic glue. And then I'm going to pop his hat almost to cover. There is a tiny little gap. You can just see, if I pop it over here, you can just see in the back there's a little bit of a gap in the top of the hat. And I'm just going to hold that until that one goes together. His nose is going to go in here in the gap. So you can bring this down as low as you wish. You know, if you've got a smaller space, you could bring the hat down a little bit further. But just hold that until that glue grips. And then we're going to sit this piece over the body. And again, there's not a lot of it showing. You can just see, if I bring it over the white here, there's just a little bit of his arms and things sticking out of the back. So again, I'm going to put some glue across the middle of the body there, and then just hover with my tweezers until I've got this in a position that I'm happy with some of the body showing and a little bit of that beard, oops, underneath there. That looks okay to me. Happy with that. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same again with the feet. So I'm going to get these the right way around. They do sort of point outwards, and there is a little tiny bit of definition on the outside edge there. And I'm just going to pop a tiny drop of glue on this inside top corner and do these so that they fit just towards the bottom of the body. I might do them one at a time. I want a little bit sticking out there at the bottom. We're not going to see a lot of the left-hand side one because I'm going to use the present over it. But just to get that one on that side, and then this one level with it. And he's just so cute. I love the gnomes for Christmas cards. I like them all the way through, but I just think he's really cute. And then the last piece is his little nose, and I've put a piece of foam on the back of this one. Just to raise it and give it a bit of dimension. I didn't want a lot on this particular card because I've got some foam behind this piece as well. But yeah, with the darker shadow at the bottom, I am then just going to place that under here like so. And that's him all complete. Absolutely gorgeous. I might pop a little pearl on the end of here when we've got him fixed on the card. But that's my little gnome good to go. And then we've got his present. And I'm going to use a tiny bit of red line tape there. Because this is going to go over the wobbler, I want to make sure that it stays in place because there's not much of the present actually stuck down. I'm just going to put this down that side here, little tiny bit there, and we're going to fasten this so that he's all one piece, the gnome. So again, I'm just going to position this one and have it just in this corner here as if it's stood. As I say, we cover up this one, but I'm okay with that. And just fasten that. So I've got one continuous piece there now. So he's all good to go. And he's going to sit on here when we're ready. Okay, So a couple of bits to do to the background. I'm going to colour in those leaves, and again I've just chosen a couple of my pencils for this. It was only a small area. I've got a green for the holly, so just to add a little bit of detail in there. And I have got a slightly textured card, so it gave me quite a nice effect when I coloured this on the sample. And then I'm going to go a little bit heavier at the bottom just to create that bit of depth. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in a little red glitter pen just to pop some detail on those berries there. A little bit of glitz to pick up the glitter card that we put in the die cuts. And then at the bottom, it did look as if he was floating a little bit. So right at the bottom here, I've just got a grey pencil, and I'm just going to add a little bit of floor, for want of a better word, just to ground him. You don't see a lot of it, but it just grounds him that little bit instead of him being floating around in the middle of your design. So he's good to go, and that one's good to go. So we'll bring this back in now. This should be dry enough to stick down now. And I'm going to go back to that all-purpose glue on the back of here. Get this matte layer stuck down. So a little bit of that on the back there, and we're going to pop this one over our matte layer there and just get that one wriggled into place so that we've got that nice 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Spread that glue out underneath. And then we're good to go with our details. Okay, so I'm just going to be careful not to catch the glitter glue, but this one, we take the backers off here. Oops, I don't want to touch that just in case it's not quite dry. But yeah, just take the release paper off my tape. And then I started off with this in the centre of the card. I started off with the positioning here, but then decided I wanted to go slightly up into that left corner there, not too far, and just sort of eyeball this to make sure that we're straight. So that's that layer in place. And then I have got a Merry Christmas to go across here. So this is from my, they are a lovely font on these. I've got a set of these, and again I've had these a while. I think these were from Amazon, but they've got lots of different ones in here to do with the seasonal, you know, sort of holiday. And I just love this sort of lead out with the font. So that's going to be on here. Okay, and I think I'm going to pop a little bit of tape on the bottom of that because it is going to sort of go over this layer here. So just to make sure that it's stuck down well, I'm going to put a piece of tape across the bottom here. And then we'll add a bit of wet glue to stick to that layer that's already on the card. So I'm going to take that one off. And then just use a little bit of my embellishment glue. And I'm just going to pop that across the top there, and hopefully that'll catch that piece that I've already stuck down. So this is going to go centered. Again, I did wonder about coming to one side, but I actually like this centered. And I'm just going to drop it so that it's not quite centered on the green strip. So that'll give the glue chance to stick to this bit and the tape chance to stick. Is that straight? Yeah, I think we're good at the bottom there. And I did heat emboss the sentiments actually for a change. I've stamped them in the black pigment ink, but then just put some clear embossing powder so that we've got a little bit of extra shimmer going on here. You know, it's a Christmas card when all said and done. So he's going to go onto the front here like this. And the little wobblers, again, you know that I love my Amazon shopping. I spend a lot of money on Amazon. It's my favourite sort of online shop, unless I'm using a specific one, like I use Craft Stash quite a bit. I use Sticks 2 online. But these are the little wobblers, and they're like a little tiny plastic spring. Yeah, and they've got double-sided adhesive on. So what I'm going to do is pop this onto the card, and I don't know whether there is a right way or a wrong way, but I put the solid piece down onto the card, and all you have to do is just release. This is sometimes the trickiest bit. Just get the paper off the back here. There we go. And I tend to do this first so that I've got it anchored, otherwise it can get a bit, I've found that I don't get them on straight. So all I'm doing is just taking that backer off, and now that back piece is sticky. So I'm going to pop this roughly where I want it to go, under here, under the centre of him. So round about here, press it down, and you can get it really well stuck down to the card then. And then there is another piece of release paper on the top here. So I'm going to take that piece off and then just hover over the top. Just going to shape him slightly so that he's a little bit rounded rather than just solid flat. And then I'm going to get him where I want him, looking at the bottom here, like so. And then I can stick him onto the wobbler. I found I get him straight that way. And then he's got this little bit of movement. It's just a really nice sort of added extra on there. And then I think what we'll do is have a look for a white pearl. So these are my Dreamies pearls. You know that I love these. And I'm going to go with one of the little white ones, which have got like almost like an aurora finish on them. So we'll put one of those on the end of his... oh, we've got aircraft going over the top now. It's all happening this morning. Okay. Crikey, I think that's the helicopter. It's very low down. I can actually feel that vibrating. It's a bit unnerving. And then I'm just going to pop this one onto the edge of here and let that dry. Okay. So that's the front of my card done. All right. So red versus the green. The red actually stands out a little bit better. I got carried away with this with the background, but I think the red is a nicer contrast onto here. So yeah, let me know in the comments which colourway you like best. And then I'm just going to do the insert to match these. So pop him to one side just to dry for a little minute. And I have got a piece that is 6.5 by 4.5, just smooth white cardstock. Okay, and I am going to pop round the edge with my green topaz ink. This is a Spectrum Noir ink, and I use this round the edge of the piece of design paper as well. You know what I'm like with my inks. I like to see those edges finished. But inside the card, this is enough from my point of view. I don't find it necessary to put another matte layer inside the card. The green is enough to go against the card, and you can see the definition between the background and the foreground. And then rather than stamping straight onto the background today, I thought what would look really nice to tie it in with the front is bringing in the smaller one of these little dies, and I've cut this out and stamped my sentiment onto here, and I just thought it sort of links it together a little bit on there. So I'm not going to do an awful lot more on the inside. I might add a little bit of that holly just to tie it together. So we'll get this one stuck in the middle there. And again, it could be a little bit of the pattern paper if you've got some scraps of that left over. You've seen me do that inside them, but I think I might just stamp the holly. I've got something on my, there we go, card there. So this one I'm going to put slightly further up, because I always think, you know, you write names at the top, but often a message at the bottom, and I quite like that in the centre there. And then I think what I might do is just to tie it in with the front of the card again is use that little holly leaf, but instead of doing a double, I'm going to pop one in the top corner like that, and I'm going to spin it round and pop one in that opposite corner. So just a couple, just to link it together. And I think we will add a little bit of colour to those just because we can. You know, you could leave them as is if you wish, but I've still got the pencils here at the side of me. So again, we can add that little bit of green. Just be careful that that ink's might not be totally dry. We'll just go in there gently and just really light. I'm not going to do too much with that one. And again, at the bottom, and it just sort of links the front of the card to the inside. You know, it's not necessary. If you don't want to add the extra detail inside, you could just pop a sentiment. You could just leave some cards are blank and you just pop a message inside. So, you know, there's lots of different ways of doing this. And then that little red berry again with the glitter pen. And then I need to be careful not to smudge that now. I'm going to stick that in. So the question arises is, do we go inside the red one? I'm going to go inside the green one because I popped a couple of little extra embellishments on here. I've got some little tiny white, they're almost like a little plastic embellishment, and I just popped 3 of these on the background. So I will put the insert in this one. I'll pop him to one side, but I just need to be careful not to smudge that red ink. So what I'm going to do is just use a scrap of card. Let me just find a little scrap in here. Here we go. And just blot those to make sure that there's a little tiny dot, look, and I don't want to transfer that to the inside of the card. Yeah, you can just see here. And then we'll use that same all-purpose glue. Pop that on the back here. And then we can secure this inside our card. And that green just lifts it, as I say, off the back of the card blank there. I don't like wasting extra, although I've got tons of card. I don't really like using a matte layer inside just to waste sort of card when this from my point of view, it does the job that I need it to. Okay. So sending you big hugs and warm wishes on there. We've got the little holly leaves to match the ones on the front. And then we've got our gorgeous little gnome with that little bit of interest in there today with the wobbler, which is all sort of obscured behind him on the back there. So yeah, nice and simple. This is the one that we did in the red. So let me know in the comments, do you like the red against the green? Do you like the, you know, the more sort of, you know, matching colours? Just pop that little bit of red in there. I think I actually quite like the red against the background here, but as I say, I just pop the extra little pieces on here. I might do an insert for this one as well and use both of these as Christmas cards. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed that. Let me know which colourway you like best, if you're going to have a go at it. If you've got something similar, what would be your chosen colourways for it? And I'll be back very, very soon with another project for you for the 12 Days of Christmas series. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back very soon. Bye bye.